North Korea, which is formally referred to as the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, DPRK, is frequently considered to be among the governments that are the most secretive and oppressive in the entire world. It is not surprising that citizens live under rigorous authoritarian control. Nonetheless, the peculiar nature of some of the tasks that they are required to accomplish might be shocking to those who are not a part of the community. As a result of these requirements, which govern nearly every element of daily life, from personal behavior to devotion to the government, an environment is created in which individual freedom is almost non-existent. One of the most significant parts of life in North Korea is the concept of unwavering allegiance to the Kim family, who have dominated the country since its founding in 1948. This tradition has been passed down from generation to generation. This loyalty to the leadership is pushed not only via propaganda, but also through a system of unwritten social contracts that are regarded very seriously by the government. This devotion is essential to the success of the administration. In order to maintain their devotion and respect for the supreme leader, who is currently Kim Jong-un, as well as his predecessors, Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il, citizens are needed to demonstrate unflinching respect and loyalty. The images of these individuals are displayed in every house, workplace, and public venue, and it is required that they be kept in pristine shape. These images can be subject to severe punishments, including jail or even execution, for even the smallest amount of harm or disrespect that is shown to them. A mandated period of grieving is included in the area of public expressions of allegiance from others. Whenever one of the Kims passes away, the people of the community are expected to take part in public shows of grief, which frequently last for several days. According to the authorities, the depth of this grief is being evaluated, and individuals who are deemed to be insufficiently expressive or regretful during these periods may be subject to severe punishments. During the period of national mourning for Kim Jong-il in 2011, there were allegations of people being jailed for not mourning with sufficient outward emotion. This occurred during the period of mourning. The state exercises influence over a variety of factors, in addition to political allegiance. People in North Korea are subject to a severe class system known as songbun, which is a social classification that controls access to education, work, and even food. This system is responsible for regulating the daily lives of North Koreans. In this system, citizens are ranked according to their perceived devotion to the regime. The families of those who fought for Kim Il-sung during the Korean War are placed in the highest tier, while the families of those who defected, or those who have relations to capitalists, are placed in the lowest tier. Individuals who have a lower songbun are frequently denied fundamental rights and opportunities, which further solidifies the regime's control over the population. In addition, the residents of North Korea are subject to some of the most peculiar and severe laws regarding dress codes in the whole globe. By way of illustration, only approved hairstyles are allowed, and there is a list of approximately 28 hairstyles that are sanctioned by the state that residents can choose from. It is expected of men to maintain their hair short and neat, while women are required to stick to traditional, conservative hairstyles that are reflective of the regime's beliefs. In addition, there are stringent regulations governing clothing. As an example, the wearing of jeans is outlawed in many places, since it is seen to be a representation of the decadence that is associated with the West. Citizens are encouraged to dress modestly and frequently in accordance with communist values. Those who break from the rules face the possibility of being sentenced to public humiliation or perhaps being punished. Additionally, religious rituals are strictly prohibited in North Korea, which is a state that supports Juche, a state ideology that is centered around self-reliance and obedience to the leadership. It is possible to be imprisoned or put to death for practicing any type of religion that is not sanctioned by the state. This is because religious groups, particularly Christians, are seen to be a threat to the government. As part of its policy of deliberately persecuting religious believers, the administration frequently resorts to torturing them, forcing them to work, and even executing them in some instances. Despite the fact that North Korea is home to a number of churches and temples, the majority of them are merely for display purposes, designed to attract tourists from other countries and provide the impression of religious tolerance. An additional distinctive obligation that is forced on the inhabitants is the requirement that they take part in mass games and parades, which are utilized as demonstrations of the nation's combined power and solidarity. The organization of these events, which can involve thousands of participants, calls for careful preparation and can take several months to complete effectively. Everyone, from children to adults, is obliged to practice for a significant amount of time every day, often putting their education or professions on hold in order to make their performances better. It is possible for the individual and their family to be punished if they do not participate in the government's activities or if they do not reach the high standards that are anticipated by the regime. Rather than being solely a kind of celebration, these huge spectacles are political instruments that are utilized to demonstrate the authority and control that the dictatorship possesses. A curriculum that is centered on the teachings of the Kim dynasty and the ideas of Juche is implemented in North Korea's educational system, which is also subject to high levels of governmental control. In addition, there is a significant emphasis placed on physical education, and pupils frequently take part in exercises and training that are modeled after military drills in order to get ready for any potential future conflicts. Any individual who is apprehended while attempting to abandon the nation is subject to severe punishment, which frequently includes being transported to labor camps or being put to death. The dictatorship maintains a strict watch over the borders. As far as private talks are concerned, North Korea maintains complete control. A climate of dread has been developed as a result of this surveillance apparatus, which has led to neighbors, acquaintances, and even family members turning one another in for the least perceived criticism of the regime. It is practically impossible for citizens to express any sort of protest since they are living in constant fear of being reported to the authorities. This further strengthens the government's hold on the population. A steady onslaught of propaganda is directed against the people of North Korea through the state-controlled media, which is the only source of knowledge that is accessible to them. This is in addition to the tasks that they are required to fulfill. The majority of citizens are not permitted to access the internet, and access to foreign media is tightly controlled. With radios and televisions pre-tuned to official stations, the dictatorship is able to guarantee that the public is only exposed to the narrative that is being broadcast by the regime. It can be concluded that the odd and harsh requirements that are put on inhabitants of North Korea serve the purpose of ensuring that the dictatorship continues to exercise complete control over every facet of life. The government strives to guarantee that its population are completely submissive to the state by imposing a variety of restrictions on them, including required devotion to the leadership, severe clothing standards, and limited travel, as well as the suppression of religion, free expression, and even haircut choices. For millions of North Koreans who live under constant fear of being punished and repressed, these requirements, which may appear terrible to those who are not a part of the country, are a daily reality. The consequence of this is a society in which individual liberties are essentially non-existent, and the government exerts a great deal of control over every element of life. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.